Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Year in Review 2019, featuring an actual proper light which is half blinding me and a cup of hot Ribena because I managed to get ill right before filming this video for the second year in a row, so that's wonderful. Well, that's really hot. First of all, yeah, after the last video I did kind of say I didn't know when I would be back or when I would be doing more stuff, but yeah, I'm not really surprised that I didn't. I will try and do more, but obviously I said that last time and here we are, so we will see. I will at least be doing this and the Mcloughlin Awards because I have to do them every year. It's just the way it is. So there will be at least this and another video coming soon, but after that, who knows? I also should probably point out the hair. I'm still not really sure how I feel about it yet. It's like half purple and then half like bluey silvery kind of colour, which wasn't perhaps my finest decision. I was gonna try and dye over it so it's all purple, but my friends have been convincing me that it looks alright. For now at least it stays, but by next video it might be gone. I might have just shaved my head by that point, who knows. So yeah, I kind of want to also just touch on, last year's video was very thing-centric. It was very, I did this, I did that, I saw this band, I dyed my hair this colour, I saw these friends. And that's really nice. Like, it's nice to be able to look back on a year and be like, oh my god, look at all the things I did this year, it was so much fun. But it kind of, for me at least, lost part of the point of these videos in that I didn't really want it to just be a recap of my calendar and my social life. I wanted it to be about who I am. I wanted it to be about how I feel, about my mental health, about what goals I've set, what I've achieved, what I perhaps haven't achieved, what I want to look forward to in the next year. Because certainly with the year reviews that I've done before, I can look back now and be like, oh yeah, obviously I kind of remember how I felt at that time, but seeing me talk about it is totally different, and hopefully is sort of, it is kind of a capsule of this is who I was and how I felt at this point in my life. And you know, it's a good moment of introspection, of reflection. I feel like there was still some of that last year, but some of it was kind of lost with the 20 minutes of this is what I've been doing this year, this is every little thing that's happened to me. So there'll be a little bit less of that. Obviously there, you know, I'm still going to talk about my year, it's the year of review, so I'm still going to talk about stuff that I did or experiences that I had or things that shaped my year. But I'm not going to go through, this is what I did in January, this is what I did in February, because I think that's kind of, it's kind of boring and it's not what this is supposed to be or what I want it to be. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to kind of do that. So heading into 2019, I had some resolutions, which was just kind of stuff about myself I wanted to improve, or stuff that I wanted to remind myself of, things that I could do better, things that would make me a better me, or make my year better, coming from sort of an internal perspective. I also had a kind of to-do list. I kind of split it into two different things, which I've done a few times. And the to-do list was obviously things that I wanted to achieve. That's what a to-do list is, Stephen. Fucking hell. So the resolutions that I had were think before you speak more, prioritise creativity over gaming, eat healthier, say yes to new things more, stay true to yourself, get into shape, but actually this time, experiment with looks more, and look after your brain. There's some kind of to-do listy stuff in there, like stuff that I actually wanted to do, like for instance, experiment with looks more, but a lot of it was more like here, I guess, or in terms of habits and behaviours and stuff like that. That was kind of the focus. I think in terms of these resolutions, there were some successes and there were some not so successes. I'll put it this way, there's certainly some stuff that I want to take forward into 2020 and continue to work on. So I think in terms of like saying yes to new things, I've tried to make that a bit more of a focus, and there's definitely been times where my brain is saying, nah, like it's gonna be stressful, or you're not gonna enjoy it, or like people will have a better time without you, or whatever will tell me basically don't bother. And I've sort of tried to push myself and kind of go, no, you know what, like we need to not think like that. We're gonna have a good time. If we don't have a good time, we can just come home. But you know, let's fucking do it. And then most of the time I've had a really good time and really good experience, and you know, it's been absolutely worth me going. So I think that's an area where perhaps it has kind of been a bit successful. And even outside of like meeting up with friends or like parties and stuff like that, like I decided to move out and live on my own this year. I decided to go vegetarian and then vegan this year, which if you had have told me 12 months ago is not something that was really on my radar at all. So there have been a lot of changes in my life that I've kind of tried to accept more and just kind of go, yeah, okay, let's give it a go, let's see what happens, let's try it. So I think that's an area where like, yeah, I have kind of been good. Something like get into shape. Gonna be carried forward to 2020, although I do have some goals in terms of that. I have spoken to some of my friends in terms of that kind of thing, and for a little while in November, like I did actually exercise every day for a bit, and that was like strange, but kind of actually cool. So, you know, like there has been some progress at least. I said it like November, like there were times earlier in the year when I did a little bit, but November was when I kind of went, I'm gonna do something, and I actually kind of did for a bit, and then I kind of stopped because Christmas and food and I think prioritize creativity over gaming we kind of don't need to talk about. I have been creative during parts of this year, like I have worked on some music stuff. I have made a couple of vlogs. I also, as I mentioned in the last video, made a couple of vlogs that I didn't even end up posting. So there were hours of work that went into that, but weren't then seen by anyone. So it's not that I've not done any creative stuff this year, but there's certainly scope for improvement, which again is something that, looking ahead to 2020, is really exciting, as long as I kind of do it. The problem that I often have isn't even necessarily like gaming. There was certainly a period where I'd be like, I can work on editing a video, or I can go on my Xbox with my friends, and Xbox would always win. But it's not so much that anymore, it's more just kind of my concentration and motivation a lot of the times. Like, it's like I will want to do something, when it comes to actually doing something, I just get really distracted really easily, or just I try and it just, nothing seems to work. Like I'm sat there with like a keyboard, or I'm sat there with my guitar, and just everything that I'm doing doesn't sound good. But again, with that, there's an element of sort of self-realization recently where I'm just sort of sitting there trial and erroring my way through things. So I've bought a book that's going to help teach me some of the basics of like piano and stuff. I'm going to work more deliberately on like actual guitar stuff rather than just learning random chords or random song. And I am still going to singing lessons, which has been a big sort of part of that, I suppose, in terms of actually taking those steps towards being creative. So, you know, that's all good stuff. It's just not there yet. In terms of my to-do list, it had on it 24 videos. I was so optimistic, wasn't I? I had 24 videos. It had 24 videos, release some original music, get a few more tattoos, write more, and diversify content more. Pretty much none of that was done. But I think the thing was, a lot of it was very YouTube centric, and I think YouTube was a much smaller part of my year than I thought it would be. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, obviously it's a bit of a shame if you want to watch my content, but yeah, 24 videos was very, very optimistic. I think I kind of was thinking about like in November last year where I made like 5 videos in 5 weeks, and I was like, oh yeah, I could do this, and it just is not something that fits in with my life great, or at least did for large portions of this year. It'd probably be a bit more normal now, but I'm kind of like, I don't really, in terms of sort of the last point, diversify content more, I don't really know what I want to make or what people want to watch a lot of the time, so I end up not, which is not really the attitude, but there's other things that I have obviously been doing. Music, release some original music, so I haven't released original music. I did post one on my YouTube channel, but it is like hidden, and that was just for like a couple of my mates to see. It was okay. Like basically the story is I sat there and got drunk on a Saturday night and started just making music, because I was like, I ended up where I was trying to make stuff, but I was being a perfectionist at like the beginning stages and trying to make sure that everything was perfect, and because it necessarily wasn't, I was then just going, no, not good enough, new track. And I wanted to get out of that cycle, because at the beginning you don't have the full picture, so something that may not sound great on its own will actually mesh with other things very well and will actually sound good by the time you've got to the end of the project. So I was just like, let's just get tipsy, try and make something, let's not be all I want everything to be exactly, let's just try it. And that evening I started making something, woke up the next morning, carried on a little bit more because I had something that was running, recorded some vocals that afternoon and posted. It was pretty much within 24 hours from start to finish. It's not amazing, the vocals are fucking awful, the lyrics are a bit meh, but I made it. And I was just like, this is something where I can look back on and go, I can actually make something. It's not ideal, it's not amazing, but I can do it. And if I can do it, I can improve on the way that I do it and do something better in the future. So it's kind of like proving to myself that I could actually do something. So I haven't technically released anything, but I did make something and shared it with a few friends. And there were a few instrumentals that I shared with a few friends as well, which were not instrumentals, but instrumental because I can't do the vocals, which again, I think I sort of touched on a little bit in my last video. And oh yeah, of course, my last video has some of one of those tracks at the end. So technically, that counts. Get a few more tattoos. I did get one tattoo, which was Buster's paw print on my leg, but because I now live on my own, I don't have the money to just be like, ah yeah, let's get a tattoo, because I'm likely going to be moving again in May of next year, and I need the money for a deposit. So while I haven't necessarily been able to, it's not necessarily been a case of I don't want to. I definitely want fucking tattoos, but it just doesn't fit in with like finances right now, which is fine. It's fine. It's one of those things. In terms of writing, I just fucking didn't. And diversify content more. I would have had to have produced more videos in order to have diversified my content. However, I did kind of try and do a few different bits. Obviously, I surveyed people. I did make a FIFA game video, which I've never done before, although I didn't end up posting. I was looking at doing a flat tour as well, which again I didn't post, but like the idea was there, the thought was there, and some of the work was there. I just didn't end up completing them. Oh, yeah, this fucking light's giving me a headache. I'm just gonna like kind of. There was obviously some really like fucking sick stuff that happened this year. Like, I do keep track of things. Like, I did kind of like, I kind of had a note on my phone which was kind of dedicated to if I were making this video in the same style as the old one, where last year I went through and I was like, ah, so these are the things that I did in January, these are the things that I did in, you know, and so forth. But like, it's just not, it's January. Like, my mental health was a bit shit, I dyed my hair red, I saw in Shikari, I saw 975, visited Connie, and I was working on some music. Like, going through every month and going into loads of depths with that, there's not value to it, it's just not that interesting. I will say, in terms of it, obviously, you know, I started the year, my mental health was pretty fucking rough. You know, the first week or so of January, I really struggled, which was kind of a combination of things. You know, I'd spent Christmas with my family. I'd been up there for like 8 or 10 days, living with my parents again, which was the longest I'd spent living with them since I'd originally moved out, like 7 or 8 months before, and it was the longest time that I'd spent sort of with family and in that kind of time as well. It was the longest time I'd spent seeing my sister as well for a long time, because she's obviously lived up there too. So then moving back to living in a shared house where I didn't really get on or know any of my housemates that well, and was basically in a room cut off and on my own most of the time, it was hard, and I fucking missed it, you know. And there was certainly a part of me when I moved back thinking, fuck, shall I just move up there? Like, when my tenancy ends at this shared house, shall I just fucking move up there, you know, not work where I work anymore, say goodbye to my friends, and just be like, fuck it, let's just go. Because I really struggled moving back. And my mental health wasn't great anyway. Me and Elle were kind of having a few issues, and it was just not a particularly nice time. And then obviously as well, off the back of that, it was then a year since we lost Buster, so you know, all of the emotions with that just piled on top, and I was just like, it was a pretty fucking awful start to the year. I'm not gonna like, you know, I'm not gonna go into like all of the finer details of it, but it was pretty fucking awful. So then having, you know, those gigs and those events and stuff that I went to was nice, and like, it's been a year of like ups and downs, which describes most years. I realise, having said that, how fucking vague that is, but it's just like, it's not been an exceptional year. It's not been amazing. You know, there's a lot of stuff in the last year in review and around that kind of time a year ago where I was like, I'm gonna do this in 2019, I'm gonna do this in 2019, 2019 is gonna be fucking sick, I'm gonna make so much, I'm gonna create so much, I'm gonna be that person, and I haven't, you know, and that's quite a, I guess it's quite a sad realisation maybe. I'm kind of okay with it, like I've kind of known. It's not like I was like asleep and then just woke up and like, oh, I didn't make anything this year. It's still been a year of like progress. I've certainly, from a personal, not necessarily a creative, but from a personal standpoint, you know, it's been a year of development, it's been a year of learning. As fucking cliche as that sounds, obviously in the summer I got broken up with. I'm not going to go into all the details because, as with past relationships where I've talked about stuff on here, it's just not a good idea to sort of, you know, just switch on the camera, just chat a load of shit. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. But, you know, at the same time I will be real and quite direct with you guys. You know, being in a relationship for 13 months and then suddenly not being in a relationship again, hard. Especially when you live on your own, because obviously, even when I was in the shared house, like I kind of mentioned a minute ago, in the shared house I didn't really talk to anyone that much, I didn't really get on with people. Like, there's one guy there, we did chat, you know, he seemed quite nice, but, you know, I'm quite introverted at times, and I kind of, you know, it was kind of, we'd chat because we lived together, but that was about as far as it really went. But then, you know, moving to a flat where I live completely on my own, you know, it does get like that sometimes. And obviously when me and Elle were still together, you know, every weekend we would hang out, and then, you know, I feel like I'm sort of sob storying it. Like, I'm okay about things now. Like, obviously living alone is still kind of lonely at times, but like in terms of me and Elle, like, we've spoken since briefly, and like there's not animosity or like anger or anything there. Like, we're two people who were together, we're now separate, we're doing our own things completely separately. Like, that's how it is. And realistically, on reflection, it could have, perhaps should have finished before it did. I think there was an element of both of us kind of knew that it had run its course, but neither of us wanted to hurt each other by ending it. So, you know, it's not necessarily a case of, you know, oh, it's so sad. Like, I'm okay, and you know, it's an experience. It's an experience that you learn from. You know, it really is. But obviously at the time it really fucking sucked. It was really hard. So yeah, like from a personal standpoint, there's you know, bits of that and bits of my mental health as well, where it's like I've experienced things that have helped and I've hopefully learned from. I think kind of heading into the end of this year, the end of the decade, because everyone's super, I don't even know. I don't think there's a word for the sentence that I was trying to make there, but everyone's going crazy posting about how it's the end of the decade, it's a new decade, oh my god. It's probably because it's the first time that a lot of social media has been around for an end of a decade, so it's kind of a big deal. But no, like, I think as we head into the end of the year, I think where I am right now is kind of, there's kind of two things. First of all, I'm going to stop, and I'm deliberately not doing it in this video in terms of making like a to-do list that I'm going to say in this video and then come back to in a year's time. Like, I have things that I want to work on, which I'll come on to in a second, but there's been a couple of times where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm shooting this video, and then while editing the video I just kind of cancel it, or I'm like, oh yeah, what's this thing with like a recording of Ableton, and then I don't post the song because it's not up to the standard yet. It's kind of like, I'm going to try and stop baiting you guys. No, I'm going to try and, when I'm excited about something like that, when I'm being creative, I'm going to try and not be to like, oh my god, it's happening kind of thing, because just because I'm working on something doesn't necessarily mean it's going to end up as a finished, polished project. Just because I'm working on something and being creative doesn't mean it's going to end up as a finished, polished project that is ready to be shared with people. Some of it is just for me and maybe a few close friends to listen to, for constructive feedback and to develop certain skills. Like, it's not always going to be like, oh my god, I'm working on something and then it becomes my first EP. Like, and that's something I need to stop, because you know, like with the to-do list from last year, 24 videos, it just didn't fucking happen, did it? So I'm going to try and not do that as much in the new year. But I think the other thing, perhaps the more important thing that I'm kind of getting towards and taking into 2020 is mental health fucking sucks. What? No, correction. Mental health issues fucking suck. And obviously I've dealt with anxiety and some depressive stuff. As I sort of have mentioned before on here, you know, like, it's not really a surprise. But for a while, I've sort of felt in the background like I'm kind of just a passenger in my own life. Like, I'm kind of passive. Things will happen, I will do things, but I'm not really in control, I guess. Like, I'm just kind of here, I'm just kind of doing my thing, and time passes on. Is probably the better way to explain that. And I feel kind of shit about that, you know, and it kind of ties in as well with, like, I set goals, I don't achieve them, I want to make music, and here's another year where I haven't released any music and haven't really put myself in a structure of learning where I can then make music. A lot of the time it's just kind of trial and error and sort of, oh, I like that song, how do they do that? Oh, let's do that. Like, I'm not actually learning things, I'm just messing around with the keyboard in my flat. And the thing is, you know, a lot of it is, you know, while I'm not sort of saying my issues or the things that I'm struggling with are my own fault, that particular thing is something that I can quite directly and quite, you know, logically work towards, in terms of, I feel that way because I'm acting that way. You know, I'm not the driving force in my own life, I'm kind of just passive about stuff, and when things happen, I react to them. I think, you know, it's a really frustrating realization to kind of go, oh yeah, that's why I felt like that, because I'm doing that. But it's kind of a helpful realization at the same time, because it is something where I can go, okay, well, this is what I'm doing that's causing me to feel this way. These are things that I need to work on. So particularly in January, but obviously hopefully onwards, I've got, you know, sort of a list of things, a structure that I want to kind of work towards. Part of it includes things from previous resolutions or previous New Year's, where it's like, for instance, like getting into exercising more, you know, and things like that. But it also encompasses other behaviours that I just kind of want to deal with, other bad habits. And sort of my thinking is, it's kind of combining two different things that a lot of people do with varying levels of success in terms of New Year's resolutions, and sort of working on things in January, like dry January or veganuary or whatever. And also where people will go, I'm going to live by these rules for the next 30 days or 50 days, and I'm going to create those better habits in my life, so that after this 30 or 50 days, it's like second nature rather than a conscious effort to do something for a specific amount of time. So that's kind of where I'm heading into 2020. There's a lot of stuff that I want to achieve, but the main thing is getting into those. So that's kind of where I am heading into 2020. That's kind of my main immediate focus in terms of getting into better habits, better behaviours, and hopefully therefore having not just, you know, the direct benefits of those better behaviours, like exercising more often, I will be fitter, I will hopefully have, you know, the better chemical balance that comes with exercising and all of those kind of things, but I'm hoping that that will then also have a direct impact on my mental health, and that particular area of my mental health, and that particular area of my sort of well-being, I guess, and kind of being like, yeah, I'm doing these things, I'm setting out to do these things deliberately because I know that they are things that I want to do, and they will have a positive impact on my life. And so that's where we're going to be very soon. You know, because I think it's just kind of there's a lot of, I think for me there's kind of, it ties into a lot of other things, where there's a lot of things that I feel or think or experience about myself, and they've kind of been there in the background, or just they're little things that crop up every so often, and have done for ages. I've never really sat down and gone, right, I'm going to take fucking responsibility for this, I'm going to sort this shit out. It just keeps building in the background, and I'm just kind of fucking fed up at this point of feeling those things. So it kind of, it was prompted by something that my singing teacher, Nick, said, and it wasn't anything profound or anything like that, but my brain then kind of went, connect the dots. Because with singing, he was talking about, well, as soon as you start to produce sound, as soon as you start making a noise, as soon as you start singing, you're in control of what your body is doing. You're in control of the sound that's being produced. You just have to obviously learn how to do certain things, how to achieve the results that you want to achieve, and then you're in control. You do those things and you know what sound's going to happen, rather than just kind of hoping and going for a note. And it kind of stuck with me a bit, because there's the singing part of like, I'm not that great at singing, I want to improve, so it's kind of like, okay, yeah, let's listen to what he's saying, take as much of it as you can, that kind of shit. And there is a certain element, you know, a lot of the time at the moment, I'm just kind of hoping. So it's building up those skills and building up that control, but it kind of then took another step in my head, because, you know, whatever I do, I'm in control of, you know, whether that is choosing to change those behaviours, choosing not to do those things in those moments where I might have done, or whether it's choosing what I'm putting into my body, you know, drinking more water, drinking less alcohol, eating healthy, or whether it's, you know, what am I thinking about? You know, I'm very much one of those people who I will have a good day, but I will have a bad thought, and that bad thought will stay with me, and I'll keep going over it, and it will ruin that whole good day. I'm in control of that. That bad thought can come along, and I can go, nah, we're not doing this right now. And I can distract myself. I can push that away, and instead of then having those bad thoughts, having that effect, I just have a good day. You know, I can not focus on those bad things. I'm in control of what I'm thinking. And so, you know, that kind of prompted a lot of it. And I haven't said anything about it to Nick. I'm probably not going to, because it'd be a really fucking weird conversation to have. But it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I am in control, and I don't feel like it. I haven't felt like that for a while, because I never really, and it's just getting really fucking deep, but like even in school and stuff, like with exams and revision, even like homework, like I was very much that kid who just didn't really do a lot and then still got good grades, which I know is really annoying for a lot of people, but it really fucking screwed me in the long term, because I never really sat there and worked hard for stuff. And so then when I needed to, I didn't know how to, and now I'm just like, I just do things. I don't really have that kind of inbuilt structure and experience of going, okay, I want to achieve this, these are the things I'm going to do, and then doing them, you know? So it kind of, I'm trying to build that up, I guess, and try to actually go, okay, I'm going to instill these good habits over the next 30 days, and then hopefully it will make the change that I want it to make. And then ideally in the future, when I want to achieve something again, I will have that experience to go back to and go, okay, yeah, I can do this. This gone mega off topic. Well, kind of on topic, but just mega deep and quite long. So sorry about that. It's been incredibly therapeutic though, and I'm sure going back and editing it through January will be a good reminder, and you know, will keep me pushing on, because at the end of the day, one of the things focusing on is consistently working towards creative things, and obviously this is a creative thing, so it's not just music. I'm not forgetting YouTube. Hopefully I'll make more in 2020 than I did in 2019, but we will see. So yeah, I'm not gonna do like a whole these are my resolutions for 2020, or these are my to-do list, or you know, any of that kind of thing. I think whatever I may say now may well change by the time we hit the end of January, depending on my success level and depending on the outcomes that I see. So I'm not going to do that. I'm probably going to wrap it up here. This may be the only time you ever see me with this hair, so enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a long therapeutic ramble that no one really asked for, but is also an insight into my brain at the moment and where I'm at. So for anyone who does care or is interested or just enjoys hearing me talking about stuff that I'm passionate about, you know, I hope you enjoyed it and it was interesting, and yeah, I'll see you next time for the Mcloughlin Awards 2019. Peace. Oh, fuck me, it's a bit bright. Jesus. Oh god, I'm gonna give myself more of a headache. Right, let's fucking do this. Ooh. Ah, there we go. There we fucking go. Right, let's... Yeah. I will see you next time for the Mcloughlin Awards 2020. Or is it 2019? I can't remember which way around I did it, whether it should be the year before, so it should be 2019, but yeah, I will see